Mark 7 Golf. We all know Mark 7 Golf's MQB platform. Wheel bearings. So, I'm doing a shock absorber on this side, I'll show you how to do that. Wheel bearing. Caliper off. Well, first off, use your big bar, undo them. Caliper off, disc off. And I'll get over to this side now. 3 bolts underneath on your lower arm, undo. What I like to do is I like to put that ball joint in that corner there and put a bolt in. Put a bolt on there, like so. Oh, that socket's far too big. Just like to gun that up a bit. Where is it? Where is it? Is the question. It's on my little air gun here. Wow, my compressor is not up for air tools. First time I've ever tried to use air tools with my compressor. Got a bit of a zip up, nothing too major. Like that. And these VAG wheel bearings are held together. See them 3 M-spline 12s there. So you take your M-spline 12 and undo those 3. I'll let you know how I'll get on. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to give it a liberal coating of maintenance spray. You can see how bolts come through here. Most of my jobs is a Halfords kit. I've got a lot of tools, but sometimes it's nice just to use a Halfords kit. Get your M12 spline, tap it in, get your socket on there, and I'm going to be using a big bar here. As you undo that, I'm going to undo it till these threads become smooth. Once them threads become smooth, I should have really wire brushed them. I'm going to wire brush the other ones. Once them threads become loose and smooth, that's when I'm going to start hitting that bolt with the hammer. So I'm going to do what I should have done before. Give these a bit of a scrub. We like a bit of a scrub like that, and that'll just help that bolt thread out a bit with a little bit less resistance. Unlike this one was obviously they got Loctite on these. If you didn't know, they have got Loctite on them. So yeah, I'll just keep going. I like to use both hands, I don't want to round it. So I'm going to put the camera down. I'm thinking I might get a small tripod if people actually are interested in these videos. Get a small tripod, hook it up, and we'll have an angle like that. That'll be nice, wouldn't it? Actually, toolbox, magnet, boom. That would be good. Bolts are still in, but they're all smooth. And if you just start tapping it, you can tap it wherever you want. I like to sometimes hit it on the bolts, just to concentrate the hitting ability. I don't know why I'm using this toffee hammer, but I am. So you can see how it's all just starting to separate a bit. What I'll do is I'll get a bigger hammer and give it a bit of a tap, and that'll just pop out that. I don't like it when people put a chisel in here and start splitting them there. You damage the hub, and I just don't like it. I think it looks scruffy, so this is the way I do it. So after a bit of clouting, you get it here. And what I'd like to do now is make it not hit the floor. But I'm going to try and do it one-handed so I can show you. So I just give it a bit of a... And she's out. Bloody hell, radial one's on a mad one, innit? It's Friday, that's why. TGIF, you know what I mean? Okay, so what I like to do here, this surface needs to look like new when I'm finished. Well, as good as it can get. But what you've got to be careful of when you start going crazy with your wire wheel is the ABS sensor. Ideally, you want to take that out. It's sometimes worth the risk, sometimes not. In this case, it looks like it's potentially worth the risk of getting that out. So I might get that out and I can go absolutely bananas with it. It's not worth getting that sensor out by any stretch of the imagination. It's very, very worn out. I'm just trying to figure out which is the best one to use. This is a very aggressive one. I quite like this one. So I'll show you how it looks. It's all cleaned up. You can see the actual surfaces are looking pretty good. Very difficult to do, as you can imagine. I'm just going to go around and scrape it a little bit more and try and get that as clean as possible. Last thing you want is for this not to be bolted flush, and then you have some hub run out and some brake judder or pulsating brake pedal. So I'm going to just keep going with it. Well, that's where I'm up to at the moment. Scrape it, all the big bits are off. Looks okay. So what I'm going to do is get the new bearing out. Use a bit of oil there just on that that bit some maintenance spray. Get that nice and smooth, and then I'm going to put a tiny bit of brake pad grease onto the, so it's high temp grease. If we go to here, we've got some nice high temp grease here. Copper slip could do the job, but I've heard things like the copper can cause interference on the ABS signal, so I try and avoid it nowadays. A slight smear. Also with these kits, you get some nice bolts, which is always good. Sweet. I don't like these bolts. I prefer the factory ones, so I'm probably going to reuse the factory one. That's not how they look from the dealer. These are okay, but again need a bit of Loctite. Done it right, these bolts literally just fall in, and the wheel bearing is obviously super nice, and that's because you've cleaned it well. If you don't have that same visual there, take it back. If you've had to hit it on, it's wrong. You've got to be, it's got to be smooth as silk, basically. It's got to be smooth as silk. If it isn't, it's wrong. So just thread these bolts in by hand, which you should be able to do because it's all brand new and lovely. Torque setting on these 70 plus 90. I'm going to get my torque wrench out, click them to 70, paint mark them, and then see if I can swing on them to 90. And that's the plan. Lovely. If you can see there, put it to the left, paint mark, and then when that's reached 12 o'clock, 90 degrees, done. Okay, you can see there, boom, 12 o'clock, she's done. So what I'm just going to do as well, just for my own sanity, is keep putting stuff on the floor. Stop doing that. Put that there. Give a bit of a blob. Bit of a blob. Bit of a blob. Call that job well done. Brake caliper back on. 200 newtons finest. Click. Done. So that is also done. Done. Bolts underneath, done. All that's left is the torque centre bolt up, 200 newton meters plus 90, which is tight as fuck. Very tight. Bar you need for a job, ideally. Oh god. So this bar is humongous. Look at the size of that. It's a beast. It's a good one. That's what you need for a job, ideally. Or you send it as hard as you can with a gun. My 1/2 inch Milwaukee does, on these with experience, 200 newton meters plus a bit. Not the full amount, but tight enough for most people. I can almost guarantee that 80% of your garages, I'm not talking that middle nut up there. But that's it, that's job done. Wheel bearing complete.